Okay, so that was interesting. I should have left this on. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, I think they both had black eyes. That thing was pumping out black smoke, that truck. Scary looking people. She was putting on mascara like it's fucking 6 in the morning. Anyway, they're asking for cigarettes. I don't know. I don't know what that was all about. They thought I was from here. Do I look like I'm from here? I'm out here wandering in the street with with a with a tablet that I don't even know how to use. Anyway, back to wandering the streets with a tablet. So I'm going to switch the camera around. I hope that's what that is. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'll just turn. Oh, there we go. There it is. So yeah, it's whispering. I'm whispering around the town. I should have left. No, I couldn't. I shouldn't have. It's good I turned it off. Dealt with them, but they were scary looking. Oof. So yeah, that is for sale at a price that if some people want to live up here, it's quiet, it's fantastic. Everybody I've talked to, like the guy who runs this place, he's the shift guy, probably has an apartment in the main floor here. He just loves it. He's from Alberta, says it's the best thing he ever did was move in to this town. Like I was saying, this young couple here, you walk into the store, they're just being themselves. They're not oppressed by having some crappy job in the city where somebody else owns the store. They own the store. They they're making their pies, making pizza for people. Everybody's wandering in and out. It's a very good vibe. She said it's the best thing they ever did moving here. No regrets. It's fantastic. And that's the sense of this place. So most of these littler places, like this place in behind the car here, was probably an old miner's house. So they're mostly little places like this that are not on cement foundations. The place I'm looking at, a house, there's a place to rent up here at this top floor of this building, 2-bedroom apartment for $750 Canadian, which, hey, it ain't cheap, but it'd be about 3 times that in Vancouverburg. So again, this is 3.5 hours, beautiful drive, completely different climate than the coast. It's a microclimate, so it's going to go to -6 Celsius in January, but very dry. That's the thing. There's no mold, there's no kind of leaking action. Hi, Rich. I don't know what your message is, because I don't think I have Messenger on this machine. I hope you're not telling me that something's screwing up here. So yeah, all the mine, like $1 worth of gold out of these hills, right? You're just surrounded by hills. If you happen to like that feeling in this historic gold mining town. So in the early 1900s, here's another little miner's house, but evidently it's got that asbestos shingles on it. The guy I'm up here with knows about materials and houses and contracting, so I'm getting some very good information from him. But we took a walk around here last night. It's just like nothing. There is nothing to do here, which I think is a very fine selling point. There's not people out. There's no cafe open. There's no bars. There's no movie theaters. You're in your home. It's retirement. It's quiet. One of the other fabulous, there's a fire department. Yeah. She is trying to do that. And there's great potential. She is trying to get people to put in some money so that there is a place for artists to take some time out of their regular chaotic lives and come up to a place like this for a month or two, and that the place is paid for outright. The interesting thing about this location, spoke to the real estate agent yesterday, is that you don't require a permit to put anything on your property. You can roll a school bus onto it, you can build a giant tree fort and live in it. You can do anything you want on your property. No permits required. I can hardly get my head around that. But there is a place, like somebody bought a lot up here, built a big shed, There's probably water in there, whatever. But they did roll a big school bus onto it, right? And they're just in there. They got their lawn chairs out in front of their school bus. Now, a lot of these people do have RVs, so they park those on their property. And they would go south for the winter. So it probably gets even quieter as time goes by. Now that's the highway where you see the car down there. The highway slows down immeasurably because it's a turn right there. So there's not a lot of roaring highway action. So the highway, this is the main street, by the way. Like, I'm sorry, there's not, there's just nothing really to, there's no neon signs. It's just old historic buildings and these incredible mountains. So the beauty of coming here would be that it's quiet, you get down to work, and it's free. Come to the free Artist Residency and work on a project that intends to create progressive social change. There would be collaboration. I would like to curate it so that various people that I feel would have a good relationship would be here at the same time. So there might be a musician and a filmmaker and a writer all here at the same time. So you got your words, your visual, your documentation, potential, and music, and to have a few meetings about, well, not really meetings, but you're around each other. So the potential to get going in some inspiration, but keeping that intention going, that the projects are focused on changing the world for the better. So that's the mandate, basically. The idea is to buy something outright, so we're not dabbling in mortgages. And like I was saying at the beginning, this place is for sale. We stayed up in the second floor there in the suite. So there's, I would say, 2 full apartments in here. And then these rooms that are like hostel rooms with single beds in it, and then a communal kitchen space. So there could be studios, writing rooms. You're across the street from Fresh Coffee, and the Hitching Post restaurant is on the other side. And this is currently for sale for 429,000 Canadian. So that's, maybe like 3 something or other, 329, 340 US, 340,000. So that's a kind of building that would be ideal. And the beauty of this place is that it is only 3.5 hours east of Vancouver on a ride that is completely over the mountains. And it's very close compared to really anywhere else in the kind of a price range. There is a house down there that I looked at yesterday that is 110,000 they want for it. So it's a bit of a, fixer-upper, which I kind of don't want to get into, but it is actually entirely livable at this point. It's just like, there's some quirky stuff going on, but nothing terrible, right? So I'm considering seriously getting it together and doing that. It would be, a less grand sort of start to this artist residency, but definitely there's space there for people to come and spend time. And that is, I'm not angling to get a house that I sit in alone. I want people to have access to some property. And again, overall, the concept is that it is bequeathed to an arts group, an activist group, cultural activists, so that there is property going forward to the next generation of people to continue on having a place where artists can gather together to create work in an environment where they're not having to pay money, because it's a hell of a thing right now, as we all know. Finding space, keeping space, and continuing to do work. You know, when you've got a job or whatever, Vancouver's outrageous, as I'm sure many other cities are for artists. You know, it's draining in these times. So, you know, at this juncture, my building's for sale in Vancouver, so things are lining up. Like, as soon as I started the campaign, the Indiegogo campaign, the next day my building's for sale. I'm raising money using my paintings as perks. So selling my paintings over the last 30 days, raising, I think it's about $2,500 US to go towards buying property. And I've got a line of cash available if I come up with a place and it all goes to plan. I've got, you know, interest that you know, this is all doable. So I wanted to present some hard physical evidence of what is possible. This is for sale. This fantastic historic building. It is downtown. It is the center of this town, tiny town. If people wanted to have this, to have a room that you can come to for a month, or various people circulating through the two bigger apartments. Wow, that raven just sounds fantastic. But, you know, I'm standing in the middle of the street in downtown, historic town, so there's actual potential to sell your art to, you know, to tourists as they're coming through, heading east or west to Vancouver, which is 3.5 hours west from here. So there's this great potential to be inspired, collaborate in a very, very tiny town. Like, it's barely, you could call it a town, but people like it here. They like being here. It's a really good vibe, and it's sensational as far as what it looks like. I mean, not sensational, that's a bit of, that's so I guess I'll just keep going. Why not? They're coming along, and that's a good thing. So, historic mining town, various opportunities. I mean, I could ditch my apartment in Vancouver and just rent that place and be here a while. People can come up and stay in the other room. But I think at this juncture, getting it together to buy a place, that there is land, there is no more fear of eviction, there is a sense that it is owned, you know. I mean, to be honest, I don't really believe in money or property ownership. It's all absurd. But it's a bit of a release from the persecution of capitalism that we endure in cities, whereby people can arrive and, you know, an RV could be parked in the front yard of the place I'm looking at, or a school bus, or any number of things. You know, there's potential to build sheds on the property, to soundproof the existing shed, which is inside a 12 by 16 building out back there, just built, you know, slapped together with particle board. That could be a recording studio, bing bang bong. You know, and if you want to build a ladder out the back, that's basically the view out the back door of your recording studio, is this mountain that they dragged $47 million worth of gold out of. That was the price back then in the early 1900s. You can see the mine shaft up on the side of the building, up on the side of the cliff there. One of the mine shafts, I believe. And they also were getting a copper and what have you before they exhausted the whole thing. So this is 3.5 hours east of Vancouver, through the mountains, and that's very close to be getting into housing, buildings, property that are plausible to buy outright. So I'll wrap this up. I've gone through my thing now a couple times. I'll when I get home later today, I'll post this video, or maybe it pops up as an archive video. So once again, that building is up for sale. It's very much drier here than on the coast, so there's not a lot of issues with leaking and rot and mold. It's very crisp. You're up in the mountains, but it is this microclimate where it doesn't get excessively cold or excessively hot as you roll through the seasons. So I'm very inspired, and it's a big move for me to leave the city I grew up in and to be considering living in a tiny little town. But you know, I just want to work. I just want to paint. I want to converse with people on Facebook. I want to sell my paintings. There's a post office right there. Get some groceries delivered. Go for a few hikes. And it's a very simple life here, and that's fine. You're leaving a lot of city action behind. That's good. And people can come up from Vancouver. I can go down to Vancouver, but it's entirely accessible by Greyhound. The highway is just right there, but it's not coming through town, so it's just very quiet here. A great place to arrive and spend a couple of weeks, a couple of months, if need be. People are in between places and you just want to escape and do some work, regroup. It would be great for that. Also, just staying in this hostel here is $55 a night Canadian, so that's what people do if they're renovating their houses here and they're without services. They might just stay a little while in the hostel. Okay. Thank you for watching.